Phantom cities, why people see whole skylines in the sky, Fata Morgana explained. Before we explore cities that appear and vanish, make sure to subscribe to EchoVerse for more deep dive mysteries. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a story from the edges of reality. They said they saw a city in the sky glass towers floating above the water, streets suspended on clouds. Phones came out, videos rolled, and within minutes, it was gone. Phantom cities, glimpses of places that shouldn't exist. Chapter 1, Seeing the Impossible. From the Arctic to the tropics, witnesses describe the same impossible sight: whole cities' roads, towers, domes appearing on the horizon or suspended above it. They last minutes, sometimes hours, and vanish as the air itself seems to change its mind. Folklorist. Stories of unreachable cities are older than printed maps, hy-brasil, and Irish lore. The islands that appear and sink in Mediterranean traditions, even the Scottish idea of a town that wakes once in a century. Folklore preserved what witnesses swore they saw, but the modern world brought cameras and with them, evidence we can rewind, enhance, and scrutinize, and still. The question remains, what exactly are we seeing? Chapter 2, The Science of a Mirage. Light doesn't always travel straight. When warm and cool air stack like panes of warped glass, their different densities bend light in curves. The effect has a name, Fata Morgana, after Morgan Le Fay, the sorceress blamed for conjuring false lands in legend. According to physicists, a superior mirage happens when cooler air hugs the surface and warmer air sits above it, an inversion. Light rays from distant objects bend downward, then up toward your eye. You're essentially seeing around the curve of the earth. Objects stretch, stack, invert. A city can look like it's floating, a traced overlay showing how repeating, stacked layers of the same skyline produce castles in the air. When the inversion is strong, the image can become eerily stable, picking up enough detail for your brain to map windows, roofs, and streets where none exist in front of you. According to physicists, in rare conditions, light can travel hundreds of kilometers in a refractive duct. You could be looking at a real city, just not where you think it is. Chapter 3, Cases from the Water's Edge. Case A, the skyline over the lake. Witnesses on shore film a skyline rising from the water buildings hovering above the horizon line. Local news calls it a city in the clouds. Meteorologists call it Tuesday when the lake flips its temperature layers. Local witness said, I could make out straight lines like windows. I know it sounds crazy, but it looked like a city right there above the water. Physicists say, across big lakes you often have sharp, stable inversions. If a distant city sits beyond the geometric horizon, you can still see its refracted image. The taller the buildings, the easier your brain locks onto the pattern. Case B, the city in the sky over a coastal plain. Inland, the same physics can stitch distant structures into a hovering patchwork. Grain silos, radio masts, cranes, it doesn't take much for the mind to complete a skyline. According to cognitive psychologists, humans are superb at pattern completion. Give us vertical lines and regular spacing and we see windows and streets. Once one person says, that looks like a city, it primes everyone else. Case C, ghost ships and phantom harbors. Mariners have logged flying ships for ages. The effect is the same light bent by a temperature inversion. But some sailors also described entire harbors, piers, warehouses winking into being, then dissolving. Composite mirages can stitch several distant sources into a single, uncanny scene. Expeditions chase phantom coasts. Some were charted as real islands for decades. When the atmosphere calmed, they vanished from the sea, left only on the maps. Chapter 4, Towns that Retreat. What about places that vanish as you approach? Travelers report lights and even street grids that pull back as they drive toward them. In flat terrain, a distant town's lights can refract along layers of air or bounce along a low cloud base, appearing both nearer and higher than they are. A highway patrol search and rescue officer once told that. We respond to calls for a town ahead that just isn't there. Temperature inversions over salt flats or plains can do that. Your GPS says 50 miles. Your eyes swear 5. Psychologist says, when the mirage collapses, the brain scrambles to explain the discrepancy. Many default to mystery, the town disappeared, but from the brain's perspective, both versions felt real. Chapter 5, Phantom Islands and Paper Towns. Some cities lived entire lives on paper. Hy-Brasil haunted maps west of Ireland for centuries. In the 20th century, a black rectangle called Sandy Island sat between Australia and New Caledonia on official charts until a research vessel sailed through the coordinates. Nothing there. According to historians, explorers trusted their eyes. A looming ice front, distorted by mirage, could look like land. The error was copied and recopied. In other cases, cartographers slipped in paper towns, fake places to catch plagiarists. Ironically, a few of those traps became real hamlets when businesses moved there to serve map-guided travelers. Whether born of optics, error, or intent, phantom places shaped real behavior, where ships sailed, where stories spread, where people set down roots. When mystery persists, not every report sits neatly on a whiteboard. Some clips show detail that seems outrageous: doorways, moving shapes. Could stacked mirage layers and atmospheric ducts carry not just outlines, but moving images across vast distances? The physics says, sometimes yes. Dynamic inversions can act like a rough lens and a television signal in one grainy. Unstable, but capable of transmitting motion, especially vertical contrast like building edges. And still, there's a reason we love the mystery. A city that appears only when the air is just right. Feels like a message from the world itself. Maybe phantom cities remind us that reality is stranger at the edges, when light, air, and expectation weave a story together. The skyline you saw might be a trick of temperature, yet in that moment, it was truly there, painted on the sky by the atmosphere we breathe. If you've witnessed a city where none should be, share it. Your footage, your story could be the next piece of this centuries-long puzzle. Seen a phantom city? Send your clip to us. Subscribe for more deep dive mysteries.